Hi, this is Madelyn with Spiritual Rebirth Tarot. Welcome in, welcome in. And today I'm thinking about Friday, which is 9/11. And back in 2001, I was working with my father at his dental practice in Olympia, Washington for the summer and living in his basement. It was kind of a fun time. There were some little kittens that I was helping to tame and able to, have a garden and all those great things there at the house, out on the property. My parents live in Chehalis, and then the practice is about 45 minutes up the freeway. And so I would drive with my dad every morning, or most mornings, to work. And I remember that we were driving together to work, and we heard over the radio that an airplane had crashed into the Twin Tower, and then in New York City. And everybody was really concerned about the tower and about the fires, and that everyone was okay. And then the second plane crashed, and about that time we were at the office, so we were all watching. Oh, we didn't have the phone. Did we have the phones then? Anyway, there was some way that we were listening to the news, watching the news, some kind of internet access or something with the news, where we were seeing what was going on. And so it was... Anyway, doesn't everybody say this is where I was and this is what was happening? So, one of the blessings of that day is that many people didn't go to work that day. The sad thing is thousands and thousands of people did perish in those incidents. And also, it's interesting, the other day I was watching some clips on TikTok, and a guy was talking about people who were reincarnated from 9/11 directly after, shortly after, within 3 or 4 years of the incident. And there's people now being, 4 or 5 years old, remembering, maybe 3 or 4 are remembering the incident, remembering dying, flying off of a building and being trapped. And so it was very interesting to watch these different stories that he had, and what people, because most people, I think, there's a lot longer time, they don't remember as much, but for some reason there were several stories related to 9/11. And then another kind of connection that I ended up having is one of my friends, well, my parents' friends, their daughter, she's around my age, she was working in New York at the time for a law firm, actually in the South Tower, and when the plane crashed into the building, it was above where she was in the building. And she and her co-workers were told to hang tight and kind of see what was going to happen. And they all decided to start going down the stairs. And since obviously you aren't supposed to go on the elevator in a catastrophe like that. So her and her co-workers decided to not listen to anyone and start walking down the stairs. So they walked successfully down all the stairs, out and far away from the buildings before the first building, the second building collapsed, which was the one that she was in, which was the first one that was hit, which was the South Tower. So she was able to get out of there successfully, and then eventually call her father. And you can imagine the experience that her father and mother went through, waiting for her to, exit the building and give them a call. And sure that when they saw the incident, they began praying for the safety of their child, as everyone else did. And, you know, each of us, each person, I think, had a time and a place that day, either that it wasn't their last day or it was, and that was part of the overall plan. So I was wanting to look at the concept of 9/11. It's actually one of the strongest numbers. The other day, I saw the number associated with something, and I was quite pleasantly pleased. It's a number that, if you do see 9/11, it's one to pay attention to, and to pay attention to what you're doing at that time, and especially if it happens 3 or 4 times in a row that you see that number. So not everyone sees numbers very regularly. It depends on the person's type of gifts and orientation to spirituality. So I typed out here, or printed out here, the meaning of 9/11. I was reading a lot about it, and most of it kept talking about, you know, plans for the future, that it's time to plan now, you know, get that, even financially, spiritually, in every way. It's future planning, future success. It's the time to move forward. The number 9 closes the karmic cycles and starting a new paradigm. And the number 11, we give heightened awareness and light without our egos involved. I liked what this said here. It said, the 9 seeks to share its wealth of wisdom for the benefit of humanity. And the 11, so the 9 is the end of the cycle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's really the last number in numerology. The other numbers like 11, 22, 33 are special numbers. And actually, if you take 9 plus 1 plus 1, you get 11. So 9/11 is a very special and auspicious number, even in numerology. Anyway, so the 9, because it's the end of the cycle, it seeks to give to the world and to humanity all of its wisdom. So it has lived a full life. It is the end of a cycle, offering all of its wisdom to all of us. The 11, you know, offers a model of authentic individual expression, or it's that very beginning. You know, you're setting your ego aside and you're moving toward this thing that the angels are calling you to. The aim of the 11 is to be guided by a heightened state of awareness and light, and to be guided forward into something new and grand, and have that force in your life. So while it's resonating from different centers and with slightly different agendas based on the person who's getting these numbers, these two numbers deeply complement each other. So this number combination creates a potent force for change. So we're looking to the future, to the changes that are occurring. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to draw 2 cards, one for the wealth of wisdom and one for authentic individuality. And so individual expression. So we'll pull one Shaman mystic card for the symbolism of the, I'm not even going to look up all of the wording. I'm going to look really deep at the actual picture and the symbolism of the picture and the energy that's coming from it. So the wealth of wisdom for the benefit of humanity is the first card. And the second card is authentic individual expression. Okay. So these are the Shaman the Shaman deck that I have. And so every card has a symbol on it. And one of the symbols that is in shamanism. Shamans are the oldest group of people that have kind of like a religion or belief in the world. Is about 100,000 years old. And it's not the same as it was 100,000 years ago. It's one of the expressions of spirituality that has changed the most over time. And today it has morphed into what it needs to be today. But the biggest thing is that it, through ceremony, journeying, the things of nature, brings healing and comfort to our lives. And it's very much based on getting results, and that's a big part of it. Okay, so I like to, since I'm a Reiki attuned person, I always take the deck and we put Reiki in every card. I'm thinking about that. And oh. Okay, so the first card is the Beauty Way. It's number 4. So 4 has to do with structure and stability, and it's very balanced. It's not just 2, it's 4. So it's a very balanced, structured type of thing. So when we're looking at that wisdom, the wisdom that we are offering, the energies of it is this Beauty Way. So we'll talk about that in a moment. So now let's get the second card that has to do with the authentic individual expression, the energies with that. Okay. The Time Master. And the Time Master is the 57. So 5 is change, and so it's kind of like changing and growing into the 7, which is that, you know, a beautiful number of like perfection and spirituality. And on the underneath is many paths, which is the 3 plus 4, which is the 7. So underneath is the many paths, which has a beautiful energy to it. It reminds me of a picture that I took. Do you see the little things here? I took a picture of the sun shining through the clouds the other day, and it was shining just like this in stripes. I'd never seen anything quite like it. And it has this heart. So it's like love pouring down on the world from the sun. Okay. You know, we're thinking about the towers. Kind of has the towers. You know, it's interesting. I just said the word tower, and I thought of, in tarot, the tower card is the tower that gets broken down and then something new is built. And that the concept that death is a part of life, you know, that death doesn't really exist in the sense that when you die, you're just transitioning to something new. I got a text yesterday that close friend of mine transitioned. You know, I have not grieved over that at all yet, and that's probably the deep feelings that I'm having that I'm not dealing with. So maybe I'll have to, I compartmentalize things, so I'll have to think about that later. Just thought of that. Okay, so the wisdom to give to humanity, the beauty way. So when we see this flower, one of the things that I think of is the lotus, and also the any of the flowers that grow on top of the water. You can have that most scummiest pond, and yet that scummy pond is actually there to give a beautiful life to that plant so that it can create this amazing flower. It also is the color of orange, which is the sacral chakra. So, you know, creativity and inspiration and wonder. So the energy of this wisdom coming to us is the energy of, you know, even though things look mucky and yucky and bad, they're actually there to help us grow this beautiful entity that's coming. And around the flower is flying these little dragonflies. And lately, a friend of mine, a dragonfly, keeps coming around her, even nowhere near water, and her grandma just died, and she feels it's her grandma reminding her that she loves her. And dragonflies are one of the animals that will come to us and remind us of our path and our journey and our way forward. And the cards that I have is that truth transcends illusion. And so the truth, you know, the truth is what? That it's a beautiful flower, and the illusion is that it's a yucky pond? Or is the truth that it's a yucky pond and the illusion that it's a beautiful flower? I think they're both the truth. So, you know, truth is what resonates in our heart and our soul. So here we can look at this beautiful flower, this beautiful bug. Even though it's a bug, it eats a lot of other really nasty bugs, and it flies around and is beautiful to us and flits around and shines the light on us from its beautiful wings. And as its wings go around and flit and shine light all over us. So this wisdom that is being expressed, that we have learned in our lives, helps others realize that, you know, no matter where we are and no matter what we're dealing with, there's always beauty all around us. And the individual expression, authentic expression, is the Time Master. It has an 8, which is infinity. Interesting kind of a chart behind him. Feathers. Some kind of on top of his head. It's almost like another face. Maybe Father Time. And then he's the master. The predominant color is kind of like the greenish blue, the heart and the throat chakra, you know, kind of where that between those is the green and blue. So, you know, our heart beats time, and as long as we're alive, it's going to be beating. So it's kind of infinite. It's just infinitely thuds along until we are no more. But during our lifetimes, it has to continue to thud along. So the little things in the heart that make the heart beat, the nerves that come from the brain, are kind of like the time master of our body. And so when we're looking at our authentic expression, it's coming from our heart. and the timing of our heart. So I think that this card is reminding us to, as you know, part of that authentic individual expression, we need to have a clean and clear heart for the world and for humanity, and that everything won't happen at once. You know, when it comes to time, in a way, see, time doesn't exist. There's the past, present, and future, and it's all one. We only are in, you know, we only are aware of the present. You know, we're here right now, and so this is what we're aware of. But as our heart beats, when it beats is the past, and when it's getting ready to beat, it's the future. But you know, the right now, the in between, is the energy, and it's kind of that it's that authentic expression of who we are at this moment. So we may not be the same person, you know, a year from now or 2 years from now. And so what we're expressing right now is the authentic self that we have currently in this space and time. So let's pull, you know, a couple of tarot cards to kind of go with these energies that tell us more about the Beauty Way and the Time Master. So let's take a look at the Beauty Way. So why is this card here, the Beauty Way? Why is the card here, the Beauty Way? Way. Oh dear. All right, underneath I have the heartache. The first one came out was the Four of Pentacles, and then the Eight of Wands, the Nine of Swords. We're looking for the nines today. And here's the 11, the High Priestess. You can see the 11 at the top, so 9, 11, and another 11, which is what 9 plus 1 plus 1 equals is 11, the Two of Pentacles. To do with balance. So this is the energies of the wisdom that we're bringing to humanity. You know, so sometimes we feel very tied up. You know, for some reason for me, today I'm noticing that this guy is far away from the city. It's like he didn't go that day to the city when all that stuff happened. He was protected. I don't know whether it was because he cared more about taking his child to school. You know, I think that it's kind of like he's on those high-flying discs. You have to watch the Abraham Hicks or listen to him. They talk about, you know, they talk about being on that high-flying disc of vibration, and that you can get up to the high-flying vortex by flying on that height. And you know, if it wasn't your time and you were following your path, you know, the source, God would have taken you on a different path, so you didn't get to the towers on time. I don't know, that's some reason because they're talking about 9/11, and it's just, he's so far away from the city. And, you know, you kind of look at him and go, oh, why are you being so, you know, stuck in the mud? But yet, it was the right place to be at the right time. Sometimes we just have to trust that even though the pond looks really nasty and gross, that something beautiful is growing out of it. That even when we're stuck in the mud somewhere, that we're in the right place. And that's really what this 911, this number means, is you're in the right place at the right time for the change that's occurring in your life. And the Eight of Wands, you know, they're rushing in and they're trying to tell you something. And trying to tell you something about this wisdom. And as they rush in and trying to tell you something, telling you at night, it's kind of amplified at night. That's the Eight of Wands and the Nine of Swords. So what's coming to you during the day is being amplified at night. You know, during the day you only see certain things, and I noticed the river at the bottom here is kind of like, a lot of us live by rivers. It's an important part of life is to live near a body of water. And a running body of water is the best, and as we live near that water, and it gives us life, and be grateful for that life. And as these things come in, sometimes the things that we're hearing are amplified even more at night. And you know, we can be really frustrated when we can't sleep at night, but you have to remember that well, I had a friend tell me once that when you are feeling you can't sleep, you might call it insomnia, don't ever fight it. Just go with it. You know, get up, get a drink of water, read something for 20 minutes, and then go back to bed with the intention of going to sleep. And so you don't lay there and fight and fight and fight and fight the fact that you can't sleep. So a lot of times if the moon's out, I like to go out and look at the moon, or that's because my door is really close to my bed. It may not be for you. Maybe something else. Pet your cat, pet your dog. You know, do something for just a few minutes instead of fighting the need to go back to sleep, and just, you know, make yourself relax a little bit, and you're much more likely to go back to sleep again. So that's what here, you know, you might be waking up, you might be really frustrated that you're not getting the sleep that you need, but these thoughts are coming in strong and fast at night. And it will lead to a much greater understanding. So, I mean, this is a really great wisdom card, the High Priestess. Let me take a look. You know, she's sitting between, in this case, she's sitting between two pillars. And the tops of the pillars have these really pretty filigree that looks almost identical to this flower. And behind her are these plants that kind of also have those little points, but really these tops of these things here look very, very much like this flower. And so there's a lot of beauty. So, you know, she exemplifies, you know, wisdom, understanding, intuition, and all of that is just very beautiful in our lives. And it just really, to remember that we're not just the really smart girl, but we're also the pretty girl. There you go. And this guy, he's trying to juggle and balance things, and he's standing on one foot. And his feet, his feet have green shoes. it's kind of that same thing of the flower, you know, growing up from the ground and being that beautiful flower on top of the water. Has that same kind of feel. So I like that. It's the 9-11. 9-11-11. So, and the timing card is the 2. So, you know, maybe there's something in your life that'll be coming in 2s, and you'll need to be balancing it out right now. And that, you know, will help you with some things that would happen in the future and that might give you a better result in the future. So as these messages are coming in that have to do with your wisdom and your intuition, they're going to be leading you to a better state of balance. And there'll probably be 2 things that you're balancing. It may be 2 aspects of your life. It might be finances, might be health, you know, health and finances, or finances and happiness, or there's all kinds of things, you know. So happiness is not really something to balance, it's just something to always have. But, you know, like these, you know, 2 things you might be trying to balance out in your life. So that is that card. So then we'll take a look at the Time Master. Okay, let's pull some cards for the Time Master. So why is the Time Master card here? So why is the Time Master card here? So we're looking at the number 11 and the authentic individual expression that it offers. Why is the Time Master here? That's too many cards. Okay, underneath is the King of Pentacles. Okay, so the last 3 cards that came out were the 6 of Wands, the 4 of Wands, and the 10 of Cups. So that's all victory and happiness cards, like victory, like happiness in your place, in your location, just anything to do with like a great celebration, those kind of things. And then the 10 of Cups, you know, happiness in the home, happiness in your heart, that little feeling of joy. So that was kind of the ends. I'll put those just together. And then, oh, and this kind of goes with it because it's the happily doing what you enjoy. So I'll put that with those. And then, the first card to come out was the Page of Swords. So oftentimes the Page of Swords has something to do with either the truth is not being told or you're going to be told the truth. So that authenticity, you know, like there's going to be lies that you find out that you've been telling yourself that you have to change in order to be an authentic person. And you'll be moving slowly with this King of Pentacles. Then the third one to come out was the Page of Cups. So it's the second page. Kind of this young, not knowing it all kind of energy. And this page is offering a gift with a fish. again has this water behind him. And so you might say to him, well, you know, that fish is really great, but I'd much rather have that flower. Okay, so when it comes to individual expression, you know, he's offering you one thing that you may want something else. And then, you know, you move from the Page to the Queen of Cups, where she's much more got something that you're looking for. And so your individuality and your authenticity are growing. And they really do grow through this number 11. And they grow from the Page to the Queen. And I feel like what this message here is that there are things down inside of ourselves, and I know especially with me right now, but I think with a lot of people, that we just don't let them come up. And you can see these towers. Oh, it's the 2 towers. Wow. I'm talking about the towers falling down, 9/11. So we have these 2 towers coming up out of the water. And so we don't really know what their base is, you know, what their support is, where they come from. They're there. And as they, you know, as they come up out of the water, I think they're kind of like these 2 cards. Like these 2 towers are like these 2 cards. It's like, you know, coming to the end, the 10, coming to the end of this burden, but we're still carrying this really huge burden. It's promises that we're toward the end, but we're not there. We're not at the house. We're not ready to set it down. And we're still carrying this burden. And that's kind of like the 1 tower coming up. And the other tower is, you know, this great battle. And, you know, are we happy or are we dejected? Did we win or did we lose? And so that's kind of the question that's coming up. So, you know, all of this stuff that we're carrying, you know, are we winning or are we losing? And it's kind of hard to see clearly. And then the Time Master says, you know, you can only see right now. But the future that I'm showing you is full of this happiness. But to get here, it's going to take a lot of work. So the underneath card was the many paths. So there are many ways to get there. And each of us kind of has a different path, but all of us are being led by our heart. So as we follow our heart, and you know, the path is going to lead through some real heartache. And as we lead through that heartache, we will come to this state of, you know, plenty and prosperity. And you know, I just really don't think there's only one path that's the right path. Like, I think the right path, or the correct path, is growing up out of the muck, becoming that beautiful, beautiful flower, growing upwards toward the light. And there's many different ways to get up to the light, but that's where we're growing and where we're headed. And this Time Master, you know, reminds us to follow our heart as we progress on the path. Well, I hope that this gave us a little bit of inspiration with the number 9/11 and the concept 9/11. I think it's really fascinating during the reading how many times, you know, either like the double towers or the kind of like the numbers, you know, 9 and 11 came into it, and some of those kind of things. And I think that kind of helps us to realize that it is a really important time to remember both, you know, what it is as humans to experience grief, to experience relief, to experience joy. You know, grief, so many people died. Relief for the people who just didn't make it to work on time. And sometimes procrastination is a good thing. And so sometimes there, you know, there's the grief, there's a relief, and there's a joy for my friend whose child, you know, made it out alive and is continuing in the life that she has chosen to live. And in all of this, you know, really to have that, you know, that ultimate victory and joy at the end. And from the heartache, you know, the heartache to success. So I hope that this was good and was helpful. And thank you so much for coming to this video and this time. And please like, subscribe, and share. And I will talk to you again at a later time. And if you feel the urge, donate or share to the channel in some way so that we can continue the blessings that we offer from God and from the universe. Okay, blessings to you.